Welcome back. Thank you very much. Now, at this stage, we were hoping to introduce our keynote speaker, our colleague from the Solomon Islands, Judah Simneh. Unfortunately, technology has defeated us. Judah is an inspirational speaker and a community leader in the Solomon Islands, and we were hoping to get some of his insights. However, we're absolutely delighted to ask our own Lisa Benson to give some of her own experiences of her work in the developing world, her experiences which identify the power of optimism in the face of climate change. She'll describe some examples of the potential for nature-based solutions and particularly how local communities start those and lead on them themselves. So, Lisa, over to you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Benson. I'm a marine ecologist at Cefas, and I wanted to talk today about the value of having optimism in our work as we face current and future challenges. To quote Sir David Attenborough, climate change is the biggest threat to security that modern humans have ever faced. As scientists, we love a bit of research, but we don't need it to tell us that shocking, fearful imagery can capture attention. The problem is that these images can make us feel helpless, which can distance us from the important issues, or worse, trigger disengagement and denial. For those of you who think that this sounds suspiciously like the stages of grief, you'd be right. But we can't nurture a culture of negativity by dwelling in the stages of anger and depression. Negativity among environmentalists represents denial that positive outcomes are possible. The great thing is that as marine scientists, it isn't difficult for us to envision healthy marine ecosystems. It is quite literally our job to understand how they function. In the next few minutes, I would like to demonstrate how we can rid ourselves of negativity by connecting problems to solutions so that we can focus on positive achievements for future sustainable oceans. Aptly named nature-based solutions are defined as actions to protect, sustainably manage, and restore nature that address societal challenges such as climate change, food security, and natural disasters, simultaneously providing human well-being and biodiversity benefits. In the case of climate change, nature provides some of the best tools for removing carbon from the atmosphere. Forests, wetlands, and grasslands draw carbon from the atmosphere and store it away in their soils, roots, and branches. Coastal ecosystems, such as mangroves, seagrass, and salt marshes, are particularly efficient carbon sinks, locking away vast amounts of carbon within deep sediment layers beneath their vegetation. For this reason, we tend to refer to them as blue carbon ecosystems. Scientists really started to get excited about the role that these ecosystems play as a nature-based solution to mitigating climate change just over a decade ago, and the concept has sparked multidisciplinary and global collaboration since then. As with all marine ecosystems, coastal blue carbon ecosystems don't only remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, but provide a whole range of ecosystem services. They help us to adapt to climate change by providing coastal protection from sea level rise and storms. They support food security by acting as nursery grounds for important fish species. They support biodiversity, the provision of goods and services, and much more. Unfortunately, despite this, and in part because of this, globally these ecosystems are being degraded and lost at devastating rates. But not to dwell too much on the negatives, this is where the role of blue carbon as a nature-based solution comes in. The idea of blue carbon is that by capitalizing on the global value of carbon emission reductions in the fight against climate change, we can drive forward the sustainable management, restoration, and conservation of coastal ecosystems. In its simplest form, this is achieved by measuring the carbon benefit of implementing ecosystem management. When we restore these ecosystems, we increase the amount of carbon removed from the atmosphere, and when we sustainably manage and conserve them, we can avoid the emissions that may have happened without the management measure. In my mind, one of the most fantastic things about current blue carbon initiatives is their implementation at a local level. Coastal communities living in the tropics are some of the most vulnerable people on the planet, facing a myriad of challenges, including being disproportionately impacted by climate change, despite often having done the least to cause it. But it is from within this region that we're starting to see blue carbon projects being developed through community-led initiatives targeting the voluntary carbon market. When this happens, not only does the global community benefit from the reduced CO2 emissions, but these projects help to bolster the resilience of communities by maintaining and restoring ecosystem services and through the diversification of livelihoods. From Kenya to Madagascar, Indonesia and Colombia, verified carbon projects are coming online with revenue generated supporting community development projects from rehabilitating local schools and buying textbooks to providing renewable electricity and piped water to communities. Before I started working at Cefas, I was privileged to work with an NGO supporting local communities to develop mangrove carbon projects in Madagascar. I can tell you that with absolute certainty, no matter how much technology develops to help us scientists build the evidence base, the long-term success of blue carbon projects will always depend on the engagement and empowerment of local communities. These successful projects have built teams of community blue carbon assessors to monitor the benefit of management interventions that pair results with their deep-rooted local knowledge to fully understand the drivers of ecosystem degradation so that solutions can be aligned with the livelihoods of local people and developed without social or environmental detriment. To add more positivity into the mix, global commitments to tackling climate change are stepping up. The latest round of pledged national climate actions has seen an increase in countries recognizing the importance of nature-based solutions, not just for mitigating climate change, but for also building resilience and adapting to its impacts. With a growing interest in blue carbon, there's an opportunity to scale up our efforts to protect larger areas of coastal ecosystems and to make an important contribution to emissions reductions, reducing biodiversity loss and ensuring food security. With the focus shifting from local initiatives to national government-led programmes, we must safeguard engagement with local and Indigenous communities to respect and protect their cultural and ecological rights. Now, I've highlighted nature-based solutions as a source of optimism, but we mustn't be complacent. They have their place in the fight against climate change, but are not a complete solution. For instance, they cannot be viewed as a substitute for rapid phase-out of fossil fuels, and their implementation is not without challenges. But we are facing a climate crisis, one that demands urgent action. As environmentalists, we should not dwell in negativity, but celebrate our victories and learn from defeats. As we close out a fantastic day of showcasing how our marine science can contribute to a sustainable ocean future, I can't help but feel optimistic. Let's not let that feeling dwindle. Thank you.
Wow, excellent. Thank you, Lisa. That's great. And a real timely reminder of how important it is to engage with local communities as we think from our relatively privileged world about nature-based solutions in the rest of the world. Thank you. So now we come to the end of the conference. It just remains for me to say thank you for watching. Thank you for getting involved in the various discussions. I hope you've enjoyed your day. I'll just pass over now to Neil, just to say a few words, and for Neil to formally close the conference for us.
Thank you, Stuart, and afternoon, everybody. Yes, so we've come to the end of today's conference, and what a fantastic day it's been. It does feel like we've packed an awful lot into a few hours today and covered a very wide range of our science in Cefas. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned a lot and go away with a better understanding of all that Cefas does. I would say a huge thank you to all our speakers and contributors today for taking the time to prepare presentations, posters, or take part in panel sessions and generally support today's conference. I particularly want to thank all those who've been involved in organising today. Now, I know just how much work has gone in from an awful lot of people to put this together, so a big thank you to Joe Murray and all the team for their hard work in making today possible. And I particularly want to thank our technical support today for ensuring everything ran super smoothly. It has to be one of the more stressful elements of a virtual conference, but we're in excellent hands today, so thank you, colleagues, for that. And finally, thank you for coming, for listening, for participating, and most importantly for your ongoing support for Cefas. We've heard today about a small fraction of the work we're doing with a wide range of partners in the UK and around the world. I've been inspired not only by the quality of the science on show, but by the dedication and passion of our scientists to making sure their science has impact and can make a difference, and I'm sure you have been too. We're facing many challenges with climate change, biodiversity loss, and trying to feed the world sustainably and safely. As I said at the start of today, science has a huge role to play in meeting some of those challenges, and we've heard today about just some of the ways Cefas is helping to do so. So thank you again for coming. Keep up all the great work that everyone's doing, and I look forward to hearing about even more achievements next year. So thanks very much and goodbye.